Call Me by Your Name, Darkest Hour, Dunkirk, Get Out, Lady Bird, Phantom Thread, The Post, The Shape of Water, and Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. These are the 9 nominations for Best Picture at the 90th Academy Awards. My name is Jacob Blunden, and you are listening to And the Winner Is. And I am joined today by my wonderful panel, Matthew Kearns. How are you?
I'm doing great. I think my favorite thing about that, Jacob, is the fact that you listed all these amazing films, and I've seen one of them on the list. So, in for a good show.
Manning Franks also joins me. How are you today?
I'm doing good. I am slightly afraid now that I will be inserting my foot into my mouth on live tape because, good lord, these nominations did not go my way as much as I wanted them to.
I'm also joined by Chris Dohmen. How are you?
I am doing very well, and I'm half surprised by these nominations, and I'm half not surprised by some of these nominations, but I am surprised where most of these nominations wound up. So this will be a fun conversation.
Yeah, it absolutely would be. And so today we are going to go through all 24 categories and discuss out the nominations. What do we think what do we think of the nominations? Is there anything there that we would have liked to have seen? What do we think was snubbed? But before we get into that, as of right now when we're recording this, we have some breaking news. Casey Affleck has withdrawn from presenting the Best Actress Oscar winner at the 90th Academy Awards. Now, for those of you who don't understand why he would be presenting in the first place, the tradition states that the winner of Best Actor from the previous year presents the Best Actress Oscar that year, and the Best Actress from the previous year presents Best Actor that year. The same with Supporting Actor. Casey Affleck, following the allegations and following the Me Too movement, has withdrawn from presenting this year. Now, I don't know who they're going to get to present Best Actress. That's going to be a very interesting. That's going to be a very interesting conversation from where the Academy are going to go and who is going to get that spot. But now, as of right now, Casey Affleck has withdrawn and will not be presenting Best Actress. Manning, I'm going to start with you. What are your thoughts on this?
I literally found out about this less than an hour ago. I will say good for him for making the big decision to do that because he said that he did not want to become a distraction from the focus that should be on the performances of the actresses. And yeah, especially with the allegations that happened last year, you could tell even when Brie Larson presented the award to him, there was this cold chill in the room, especially with what was happening. Considering now where we are, I think it's for the best that his presence does not distract because allegations aside, whether they are true or not, his presence would have caused a stirring, to be sure, especially with the Me Too movement happening. So I think this is for the best, and who they're going to replace them? My bet, when in doubt, always get Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks is American's dad, so when in doubt, call dad.
I really want Gwyneth Paltrow to come out and do it, just as a way of reclaiming that 1998 win. But that's just to me. I think that would be a nice way to give her that moment again, so it's not shrouded in the Harvey Weinstein stuff. But Chris, what are your thoughts on Casey Affleck not presenting this year?
I mean, look. Nobody can make his decisions for him, and I think it is a very smart decision on his part. It's a simple fact of when you're that controversial of a person, maybe taking yourself out of the spotlight so that way it can be focused on where the attention needs to be drawn to. Do it, go for it, and honestly, like that's pretty much all I've got because I just read this article not even an hour ago, and I mean, obviously yes, there's probably some outside motivation to it, but look, it is what it is, and hopefully they get someone who, is more than capable. Well, obviously they'll get someone who's more than capable of presenting it. So let's just see if they get the right person.
Yeah, absolutely, Matt. You were the first one to tell me about this. What are your thoughts?
I mean, this is something that I was kind of thinking was going to happen. But the fact it's one of those things where it's like, even when you think it's going to happen, when you read the story, and I was on Hollywood Reporter was the article I read. I'm not sure if they might have been the ones to break it, but this is still something really interesting. The fact that he doesn't want to take away from this. I think it is a good move, just given, the Oscars this year is going to be really interesting with how they deal with what happened, because you have a lot of people who did have an impact on this industry. And along with that, that's kind of why I don't quite agree with you, Jacob, with Gwyneth Paltrow presenting, because I think we don't want to pull focus away from whoever, out of this great list of actresses. We don't want to pull away from, like, that's their time to shine. And if it, that's why I think we should get a, like Marion suggested, a Tom Hanks or I don't know, someone who it could be a male, female, someone who is established, so that it's not, so it's not like they're picking some rando, but it also doesn't pull focus away from why we're there and, what the award is. It's whoever had, who the Oscars feel had the best performance that year. That's just me.
And sorry, one last quick point. It would actually probably be Helen Hunt who would be presenting it if you were going to go by who won 20 years ago. So, sorry.
She's great in Twister.
But I'm also just kind of, my perspective in this going is, whoever they pick, it's going to be seen as a political statement, no matter who they pick. So why don't you pick someone who is where you can give them that moment just beforehand, where they're not going to take away from the moment of someone winning, most likely Frances McDormand winning, but we will get to that later. Whereas instead you will actually get, like, it will have like a double moment, or have like this double meaning towards it. And I think that could be a nice thing, but that's fair. Let's move on. We're just getting to the start of this story. This is something that we are going to be covering over the next 6 weeks before getting to the actual Oscars. I mean, it's not, once we find out who the presenters are, it's going to be even more interesting, but let's get into these nominations. So on Tuesday this week at 5:22 in the morning, it actually ended up being more like 5:38 or something like that. It was insane. The Academy had a live stream where they announced the Academy Awards for 2017, the 90th Academy Awards. Now, has anyone actually watched the announcement video that goes for about 30 minutes? Manning, you've watched it?
I have watched it. I have indeed.
Yeah.
Go ahead and ask your question. What were you going to say?
Okay. I'm assuming you're the only, because Chris and Matt, I feel like you guys probably, did you just look at the list? I mean, that's,
Dude,
I know that's
literally have never, and most likely will never, sit down and watch like an hour-long video of someone going, "These are your nominees." That's what the Oscars are for.
Well,
That's what the freaking Oscars are for. Unless Andy Serkis was an ape presenting the nominees, I'm probably not gonna watch it.
So what this video basically was is Tiffany Haddish and Andy Serkis came out and went through all the categories. But the thing that drove me mad and was like, what the hell are you doing? And they drop it after about 15 minutes. And it's hilarious to see just how quickly they drop it. Is they have these little videos before they announced the nominations, and it was really, really weird. Before each category, they would have like this 30-second video starring some Hollywood name, and it was just weird, and you could tell that they weren't into it. No one really wanted it there. And then when they went for their standard, like, so what normally happens is they announce half the nominations, then they go for about a 5-minute break, and then they announce the rest of the nominations. And when they came back for the second half of the nominations, they didn't announce like they didn't show these videos at all. There were no videos or anything before the nominations. It was just, here is the movie. These are the nominations.
There was some conversation like, okay, we are losing people.
See, I don't even think that they had them planned. I think this was their attempt to make the below the lines, quote unquote, more interesting for people, because all we got was below the line. And while I love below the line, some people will be like, so when are we going to get the best actor, best actress? Those had names on their like own, because they didn't show like the picture of the cinematographer. They didn't show Roger Deakins. They just played the clip and told us the name, and then it was kind of a weird way to do it. I appreciate the fact of them trying something different. I just don't want them to bring it back, because while it didn't fail hard, it just was kind of boring.
Yeah. One thing that I do always really find hilarious about when they're doing these nominations and they get two actors in Hollywood to come out and present. They don't get someone from the Academy to do it. They actually get like actors to do it.
Yeah.
And when War for the Planet of the Apes is announced as best visual effects, and Andy Serkis is just standing there like, I really want to be really proud, but I've got to be professional, and I can't like smile too much. And it's just hilarious to see, like, 2012 Seth MacFarlane was nominated for an Oscar while he was presenting the fact that he was nominated. It was just one of the funniest moments because it's just something that I really love that they do, and this weird thing that you can see this, like, we don't want to address it, but we do want to address it. It's just funny. But that was the nomination video. I thought, look, it was half an hour. It was long. I wish they went back to just announce, like, hey, all of a sudden it's 5:30.
Although props to Serkis and Haddish for making it interesting for what they got. I enjoyed seeing them. I want them to do it. Well, give them another year, because I really enjoyed what they had. Just cut all the unnecessary fat from that. Just give me the meat.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we're gonna begin where the Oscars normally end. Best Picture. So, I already went through these films at the start, but here are the nominations again. We have Call Me by Your Name, Darkest Hour, Dunkirk, Get Out, Lady Bird, Phantom Thread, The Post, The Shape of Water, and 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. Matt, is there anything here that surprises you, that you are wondering why that was nominated? Yeah, what are your thoughts on these nominations?
This is always the thing with, I'm a horrible Oscars person. I rarely go to see Oscar bait movies. Usually I go and see them after they're announced. So this list is, I think stuff like Get Out, I think that is really cool to see that film get nominated. Because I don't think a couple years ago, if Get Out was released, I don't think it would have gotten nominated. I think it kind of shows the change in the Academy that we have now. There are some that I Dunkirk I kind of felt was going to get nominated. The Post is kind of one of those movies that is just not Oscar baited. Oscar baity is always tossed around as a bad term. Like, it's just a movie where I'm like, yeah, it's probably going to get. Same with Phantom Thread. There were some movies there's one movie in particular I would have tossed in there, but seeing this list, I more than 100% can see why it wasn't there, but nothing too crazy.
Yeah, to me, like, I look at this list again, and this is going to be a big running theme, I'm assuming, from especially these first few categories of, I didn't expect Phantom Thread to be here. Phantom Thread is probably the biggest surprise for me. I went in going, that was the one that didn't have the most steam. I didn't think Phantom Thread was going to get there. It did, and I'm really, and by all accounts, I haven't seen Phantom Thread yet. I've heard it's very, very good. So by all accounts, it's a well-deserved nomination. So that one, I think, is probably my biggest surprise. I love that Get Out is nominated. I love that Lady Bird's nominated. Call Me by Your Name. Like, all of these nominations are fantastic. I don't have a problem with any of these nominations. The biggest one to me, like, I would have loved to have seen The Big Sick. in here, especially I get why you can't do 10 because mathematically it's just not possible to do 10. I love how all these commentators at the moment are complaining, going, why don't you just put the 10th in? Because when they did do the 10, you complained that the Blind Side got nominated for Best Picture. And that's why they changed it. So I get why they have 9. The fact that they have 9 shows you just how incredible this year was at the end of the year, but how great it was in terms of films. So there's nothing here that I would call a snub or a shock. Like, there's no big thing that absolutely should have been nominated that we were all expecting to be nominated and wasn't. Chris, I'm going to go to you. How about you? Is there any snubs, surprises? How do you feel?
No snubs and no surprises. I would hell, when we did our last episode, I said that I predicted 8 of the 9 to be on this list. Phantom Thread, I haven't seen it yet, so I really can't say anything for or against it being on the list. But hey, it's in there, and why not? It's Paul Thomas Anderson. He rarely misses when it comes to his films, and it's Daniel Day-Lewis, who again rarely misses when it comes to the films he's in, minus one controversial pick from a few years back. But hey, on a future episode, maybe we'll get into that. But yeah, in terms of the best picture, these are the films that I would completely stand by and say these are the best of last year.
Manning, you have to now eat a shoe. I'm fairly certain about what film got nominated. What did you think of this list?
First off, I didn't. Yeah, that. Okay, we'll get into the idea of setting foot into mouth later. But this was more like on the lines of, yeah, it's not gonna happen. A couple months ago, when I was saying Get Out wasn't gonna get nominated, because they've never. When's the last horror, quote unquote, horror film they've gone for? I mean, yes, granted, it had comedic leanings, but even that,
Sixth Sense is kind of the last one.
I know, and that one was I guess, by all accounts, a cultural phenomenon, and this Get Out rightly deserves, I guess, that title as well. But overall, if we're going 9, I'm surprised we made it to 9. I thought we were gonna get like 7 or 8 this year, considering how spread the love was, in the sense. Yes, you had your top ones like Shape of Water, 3 Billboards, but there was also, felt like there wasn't there any strong buzz towards some films, or there was a lot of strong buzz spread out. I'm more surprised along those lines, but I somehow managed to get 8 of the 9, so I am impressed. Surprised that I, Tonya didn't make it, especially with we'll get into what it got later, but considering some of the things it did get, I'm surprised it didn't make it in, and the Post did, but I guess in the long run, it makes sense, considering the prestige behind the Post, but I'm not too shocked, just kind of like surprised, especially with, as we said, Phantom Thread, which literally had nothing going into this, so by all accounts, outside of Daniel Day-Lewis, it had no above-the-line clout. I thought it might have made it into a screenplay, but nope, it was like, let's get in here for 3 other above-the-lines and just forget about screenplay.
Yeah, which we will get into later. But personally, yeah, I think this is Shape of Water's to lose. I think that we could end up seeing an upset, but I don't think that 3 Billboards has a chance anymore, considering what happened in Best Director, which I think is the best. My awkward segue to Best Director. We have Christopher Nolan for Dunkirk, Jordan Peele for Get Out, Greta Gerwig for Lady Bird, Paul Thomas Anderson for Phantom Thread, and Guillermo del Toro for Shape of Water. Manning, you said it last week when you said that I'm hesitant to pick the DGA 5. We were all hesitant to pick the DGA 5. We ended up all picking the DGA 5. We, knowing full well that one most likely wouldn't. We all said that it would most likely be either Jordan Peele or Chris Nolan who missed out.
Yeah.
Nope. It's Martin McDonagh, and all of a sudden, I think 3 Billboards has gone from being a front runner to win Best Picture to being an also ran. I don't know if Three Billboards is now in that conversation. And Manny, I'm going to go to you. What do you think of this list? And what do you think now of the fact that there is a big giant 3 billboards outside Ebbing, Missouri hole in this list?
Those are some pretty big billboards that are leaving that hole. But first off, your segue wasn't bad. I mean, first off, let's give you a little bit of credit. I mean, Evan has had worse segues, so we'll give you props for that. But anyway, I'm more surprised. Okay, scratch that. I am surprised that Martin McDonagh missed. I thought he was most likely, not a lock, but most likely going to make it, considering all the love that was reaping the 3 billboards way. And I knew the DGA 5 is almost never it. And I should have went with my gut and picked someone else. But who they went with in Paul Thomas Anderson. Now, granted, this is Paul Thomas Anderson of There Will Be Blood, Magnolia, Boogie Nights fame. But he also has missed for The Master and Inherent Vice that he did. The Master had a buzz in and of itself, but that was more directed toward the performances, as we thought this was. But apparently But apparently, the Academy loved this movie. Wow, they really love this movie, as we'll get into with literally, above the line, and even below the line love that it got. And even with the love it got at BAFTA for Leslie Manville, I am surprised they went with Paul Thomas Anderson, and that he was the one to replace Martin McDonagh, a film that has arguably gotten considerably much more press than Phantom Thread has had at this moment.
I'm shocked that Three Billboards wasn't nominated for Best Director. I'm really, really shocked about that. But that said, I love that Jordan Peele and Greta Gerwig both were nominated. I love that Christopher Nolan was finally able to be the one, finally able to convert 4 DGA wins to an Oscar nomination. He's not going to win for this one. And Del Toro was all of our locks. We were absolutely, Del Toro is getting nominated no matter what. And there's been discussion about, hang on, remember what happened with Argo?
Yes.
And I think Chris is about to bring that up with Argo. I do just want to say the difference between this situation and Argo is Ben Affleck was winning all of the other awards. Martin McDonagh hasn't been winning all of them. He's been winning some, I will give you that, but Del Toro has been winning majority of them. Del Toro is still in the lead. He's still the one winning all of the awards bodies. So I think that it's not exactly the same situation. There is still a chance. There is still a very, very great chance that Three Billboards does end up winning. But I do think that maybe not. I'm very interested. Chris, what were your thoughts?
Well, okay, there goes my tangent. Argument retracted. Thanks, Jacob. I appreciate it. Look, Peele and Gerwig, they're in it. Great. They directed 2 of the best films of last year, and thank God the Academy is opening up that little bit more diversity into it. PTA, it's fine that he's in there. It's fine that he's in there because, for all we know, now that he's in the discussion, I don't know. Maybe he could be the dark horse of the year, and we'll never see it coming. But I don't know. There's a few places where this could go, but yeah. Thanks for taking my argument. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
I mean, I will add this. Paul Thomas Anderson basically, Lenny Abrahamsoned it from when Room came out of nowhere. And just, they love that film more than we thought they would love it. So
Yeah. Matt, what are your thoughts on the Best Director category?
Let me just see. Best Director. I think Jordan Peele, like I said earlier with Get Out getting nominated, I think that's awesome. Because usually movies like Get Out don't usually get recognition like that. I think Chris Nolan getting nominated was one that if he wasn't, I would have been surprised. Paul Paul Thomas Anderson is. I didn't see Phantom Thread, but I
Join the
haven't.
club.
I haven't.
I think no one on this panel has seen it.
I've heard Daniel Day-Lewis is really good, but I haven't heard like enough about like. And I usually hear like I've heard like a lot. I haven't seen Get Out, but I've heard a lot about Get Out. So it's maybe it's not odd because I mean it's Paul Thomas Anderson, so I'm not surprised that he would get a nomination. But just in this case, I haven't heard more than just Daniel Day-Lewis from Phantom Thread, which is interesting because usually, you know, directors get nominated for films people talk about a lot of different aspects of, not just one performance.
Yeah, absolutely. So, all right, let's just go around the board. The one thing I do actually want to mention, just because I've seen it be brought up online a bit, the fact that Three Billboards, you know, had 3 nominations for, like, their 3 lead actors got nominated for acting, and they're going, well, that's the primary job of an actor. Well, of a director. The only director on this list who doesn't have an acting nomination is Christopher Nolan. Can you imagine if Nolan didn't get nominated this year again? So I just want to say that, like, I can understand it, but to me, the one who, if you were going to put Martin McDonagh in instead of a director, it's Nolan to me. Like, and that's, if you want to use that as your argument, Nolan gets out. But to me, I prefer this list. I think this is the right list. I enjoy this list. I think this is very much a very, very well made and incredible list. But personally, right now for me, Del Toro is winning. Chris, I'm going to go back over to you. Who's winning?
Well, now that now McDonagh's not in it, it kills me to say it because it should go to either Gerwig or Peele because they made better films than The Shape of Water, but it's Del Toro's to lose.
Manning?
Yeah, this is like no contest at this moment. This is Del Toro's to walk away with. Unless DGA comes out of nowhere and they're like, here, let's give this to Greta Gerwig or let's give it to someone else. But at this moment, yeah, this is Del Toro. I don't see that happening.
And Matt, where are you going?
Yeah, Del Toro. Everything I've been hearing about Shape of Water, it's kind of like I would be very surprised if he didn't win. Although it'd be great to see Nolan win, since Dunkirk I thought was fantastic.
Yeah, very much so. All right, let's move on to Best Actor. We have Timothée Chalamet for Call Me By Your Name, Daniel Day-Lewis for Phantom Thread, Daniel Kaluuya for Get Out, Gary Oldman for Darkest Hour, and the surprise, Denzel Washington for Roman J. Esquire Israel J. Esquire. Fuck, I've messed that one up.
Roman J. Israel Esquire.
Yeah, that one. All right. Everyone else said
I'm just happy you got Chalamet.
Man, I finally got Chalamet
At this
right.
point.
I'm so happy about that. I've gotten every other name wrong so far in this thing, but I've got Chalamet right, so I'm happy with that. Okay, look. This was three of these were locks. That was Timothée Chalamet, Daniel Day-Lewis, and Gary Oldman.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Daniel Kaluuya would get nominated for Get Out. I thought the buzz was starting to get him to nominated. Denzel Washington was one of my. There's an outside chance he does. I kind of don't. I hope he doesn't because I think Tom Hanks should have been in that spot. I would have rather have seen Tom Hanks in that spot. But there was several other people that you could have nominated in there, like a James Franco, like Jeremy Renner, if that was possible. But Tom Hanks, to me, is the big one that should have been in there. I know a lot of people have been saying Franco should have been nominated. The Academy, like a lot of people are saying the Academy took Franco out. I highly doubt that would have happened. I think what did happen was he was a 4th or 5th pick, and he just didn't get enough votes. And Washington probably, I reckon Franco is 6. I genuinely, I'd love to see now, like the voting, but I think Franco was 6th or 7th. I don't believe the conspiracy theory that Franco was pulled out because they didn't want to deal with that controversy. But Chris, as the one who was pulling for Franco to get nominated the most, is it a surprise that he's not there for you?
No, because officially speaking, I had him as an outside chance. Because no, you're right. He probably is the 6, and what I'm pretty sure happened was what you exactly said. It was just a switch of Washington and Franco, and that's honestly where I would have had it as well. Because of course, Oldman, Chalamet, and DDL were going to get in no matter what. Kahlua, I'm glad, and I'm beyond happy because the thing is, I just didn't think it was going to happen, but it happened. Hallelujah, thank you. And Denzel, you gotta have, now we have 2 actors here who are, the longtime vets who, as I remember saying it before, they could walk into a room and sneeze the right way, boom, Oscar nomination. So,
and a lot of people, I've seen a lot online about people saying Denzel Washington, he's just nominated because he's a person of color. No, I don't think that. I think it's very much he's Denzel. He is Denzel, and that's why he was nominated. So, Matt, what did you think of this list?
There was a movie called Roman J. Israel Esquire, and Denzel Washington was in it. I had not heard about this movie until I read these nominations.
Yeah, the guy who did Nightcrawler did it.
Denzel. Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
I thought that X-Men movie was canceled.
Ha.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I have to make my jokes here, guys. Yeah, I mean, Denzel, again, it's true. Denzel Washington can literally do a movie that's called Denzel Colors in a book, and he'll probably get a nomination. Probably. Gary Oldman, it's great to see. I've been hearing great things about Gary Oldman. So overall, this is a pretty good Best Actor nomination list.
Yeah, Manning, is this Gary Oldman's to lose?
This is Gary Oldman's to lose, and rightfully so. Of course, I have yet to see Call Me by Your Name and Phantom Thread because, of course, my theater doesn't have them yet. Hopefully now with this nominations they'll come out, but I think this is Gary Oldman's to lose. This man, from day one, while people are hesitant to call the word lock, because he wasn't winning any critics, the critics don't decide the Oscars. The guilds decide, because people in the guilds vote. And they're going with Oldman. And as someone who loves his performance and thinks it's one of the best, if not the best of the year, I'd be happy with that. I'm not surprised with Washington because he is basically the male Meryl Streep, or at least on that path. Because apparently, whenever Chris said he can picture him sneezing and he'll get a nom, I just imagine that the picture of Orson Welles, a Citizen Kane. I guess picture that's what the Academy is doing, just clapping in a dark room whenever they see him do that. When he gets the nom. That's what it feels like right now. Because whatever happens, Denzel Washington apparently will get a nomination. And I don't know why. Daniel Kaluuya has always felt, even up to the finish line, he's always felt like the outside shot. Maybe just because his role in comparison isn't as showy. Other than that amazing scene where he's crying in a chair, the fact he can cry on command like that is pretty amazing. But other than that, his performance is different from the other ones because it's not a very showy performance. And it always felt like it was going on the coattails of how amazing Get Out was. It was never driven by his performance. And seeing him finally make it, that's why I had him on the outside chance. In the long run, that was a poor mistake on my part because he'd literally gotten Golden Globes, SAG, and BAFTA. In the end, it was Franco who was the one that missed out. While he had a more showy performance, the love of Get Out, I think, propelled Kaluuya into the final stretch.
Yeah, all right. Go around the board. Are we all I'm just going to go around. Oldman's got this. Manning, you've already said Oldman's winning this.
Yep.
Matt, is Oldman winning it?
Probably. Again, it's really difficult when you have literally not seen a single film that any of these actors were nominated for.
He's good. Take your word for it.
Listen, that is literally what I'm doing, and the word on the street is this is Gary Oldman's year, which is great because Gary Oldman's has he won before?
No,
Nope.
he's only been
Oh,
He's
nominated
never been
once.
nominated once.
Yeah, he's one of the
This is
he's
sad.
one of these great character actors who's just always turned in great performances and has never taken home the trophy. So hopefully this is his year. I'm hoping.
Yeah. And Chris,
Officially, my
It's-
answer is yes. But I actually think there's a shot for Kahlua to possibly sneak in there.
Whoa.
Ow.
Whoa.
Ooh,
Wow.
that's an
Not even-
interesting
And,
choice of,
here's my
sneak in.
reason why. This movie came out in freaking February last year.
Mhm.
And the fact that people have been talking about it for now pretty much now a full year and are still gushing about it, he never left the conversation.
Can I just 1 second? Can I? And I think this goes back to Manning's great point, which is I think what drove Dan Kaluuya, maybe drove him over like a Franco is the love for Get Out and what's doing. But I'm not sure people love Get Out strictly because of him. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes there are these films where it's,
but
and that's where because I'm not sure just because everyone loves Get Out that the Academy can give it just because he's nominated from this film everyone loves. When from what I've heard, Gary Oldman gave the best performance this year, like bar none.
Now, I will actually agree, and it's to a degree, with Chris. I think that because the conversation has been tilted toward Get Out, I think it's going to go home with something, but I don't think it'll be actor, but we'll get into that.
we'll get into that, but we'll definitely get into that when we do our real picks like a week before, and we do what we would pick and everything. But because there is a very interesting way that this Oscars could go very quickly. Let's move on to Best Actress, which is personally, I think, sadly, just because I don't think that you can replace any of these ones. I think this is the list. I think this is the correct list. I don't think that there is anything wrong with Best Actress. We have Sally Hawkins for The Shape of Water, Frances McDormand for 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, Margot Robbie for I, Tonya, Saoirse Ronan for Lady Bird, and Meryl Streep for The Post. I'm so glad Meryl actually got nominated. So some controversy around the fact that it's five white actresses. I have yet to see anyone give a legitimate someone else who could have come in to this spot without it feeling as though it was this is an African American, a person of color vote. Like, I've yet to hear someone actually say that. The one that everyone has said is Jessica Chastain it should have probably been in there of Meryl Streep. And a lot of people said that. I personally thought she was going to get it. I thought Meryl Streep was going to miss out. I don't know why. I just thought she might have. But I'm going to start with Manning here. What are your thoughts on this list?
Never bet against Meryl Streep, ever. She literally got in with Florence Foster Jenkins over Amy Adams. Guys, let's not forget this. For Arrival. That's why I'm never going to bet against Meryl Streep again if she is in a movie that is somewhat critically loved. I'm not talking about like Ricky and the Flash. I'm talking about literally something that has gotten awards buzz. And if it gets award buzz and has Meryl in it, you'd better write her name in. But no, this is not shocking. I thought we'd be in for something shocking. I thought something someone would miss, but this one is just where it's like, I can see this going any which direction. But I think one person clearly has the awards body to back her up.
Yeah, absolutely. Chris, where are you going with Best Actress? What do you think?
5, 4, 5. All 5 correct. Boom, I am happy. And yeah, no, like, I'm sorry. Sure, I could shoe in a biased pick for me because I thought that actress gave a hell of a performance, but it wouldn't do anything to change the the political aspect of this category. So honestly, in my opinion, this is the right list, and I have my personal pick in mind for who I think is gonna win it. But then of course I know who actually is, and yes, we'll all agree on it. Not regrettably, but reluctantly.
I don't know if we're all going to agree on that. But Matt, what do you think of this list?
Oh man, I am 4 for 4. I just didn't predict Sally Hawkins was in mine, but I had everyone else on here, so I'm patting myself on the back.
Huh.
I can predict Oscar nominations without seeing the movies. Ew.
How about that box office though?
Home Again is gonna make it this time. Okay. 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 Here's my thing with Meryl Streep is everyone's gonna give her slack for this. I haven't seen the post, but from what I've heard with the post, it's a really good movie and a really good performance. I was giving her more for Florence Foster Jenkins because that movie did not look good, but that's just me. And I was like, but that was kind of the thing where I was like, so Meryl Streep can literally be in any movie that has like the faintest Oscar like rumblings, and she'll probably get nominated. Don't bet against her. Now maybe that's not bet against her for winning award, but at least for the nomination, Meryl's just, there's something about her that everyone just loves this. But I mean, she's a fantastic actress. Margot Robbie, I'm really happy to see in there because everything I've been hearing about I, Tonya, it's really a movie that sort of rests on her shoulders. And I always give credit to actors, actresses who can take movies where it's really like if your performance slacks in the slightest, the whole movie can fall apart. So I'm very happy with this list.
Yeah, personally, yeah, I think this is a great list, and there's no real shocks for me that I think. Like I personally, I didn't think Meryl would get nominated. And look, this isn't like 2014 where she was nominated as a supporting role for Into the Woods. Like it's
I forgot
this
about
is
that.
yeah, I know. Like she got an Oscar nomination for that movie. Like what? But you know, she was really, really good in this movie, and I think she's going to always cop slack because she is one of the best actresses to ever live, and she broke her own record again with 21 Oscar nominations in history.
My Lord.
Like,
Yeah.
she's just that good, and I think this is a very well-deserved nomination, and absolutely, she has no chance of winning. This is Frances McDormand's award, but I would not be surprised if Margot Robbie comes in as a surprise win. Manny, where are you going with this?
I'm gonna have to agree. This is Frances McDormand's to lose. I would have said release with the subject matter and maybe some more push. Margot Robbie could have done something, but with the big miss in picture or in other below the line categories, I think this is Frances McDormand's.
Yeah. Chris, where are you going?
I'm going Frances McDormand.
And Matt?
I'm in between those two. Frances McDormand, because I think she, just seeing how many other things Three Billboards has been nominated for and everything, has more of a buzz around, and I've heard she gave a great performance. But I still think Robbie might be able to do it because, like I'm saying, it stings being an Irish person. That poor Saoirse Ronan, good Irish girl. She just gets the nomination. She's not gonna get the trophy yet. Poor she might be the Leo. She might be the Leo, which is fine.
She's young. She has time.
She's young.
She has been nominated 3 times. Remember that, for Brooklyn and
Yes.
and Atonement, and now Lady Bird. So
And that's what I'm saying. And I heard she was great in Lady Bird, but I do think it's between Robbie and McDormand. But if anyone else won, I mean, this is a pretty stacked list. So
yeah. It is very stacked. All right, let's move on to, I think, what was the easiest one to call, what was the one that has annoyed a lot of people, but I think is absolutely, all of us here got 100% on our predictions. Best supporting actor, we have Willem Dafoe for the Florida Project, Woody Harrelson for Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, Richard Jenkins for The Shape of Water, Christopher Plummer for All the Money in the World, and Sam Rockwell for Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. I'm going to start with you. Everyone has been pointing at Christopher Plummer, going, he didn't deserve it. He didn't deserve it. Look, that aside,
False.
the person who didn't, like, I don't think he was bad in the movie. I think he is, one, not in the movie enough, and two, doesn't really do anything in it. And that is Woody Harrelson in Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri.
Thank you.
Like, I finally saw it, and yeah, he's not. He doesn't really do a lot.
But Jacob, those letters.
Yeah,
those letters were everything.
Great scene, but
I don't think that there is this Oscar-winning performance. But that being said, I get. Look, the big one that a lot of people are calling out and saying was, this is a huge miss. He should have been nominated. I mean, hell, he was in 3 Best Picture nominees this year. And that is Michael Stuhlbarg, sorry. The fact that he was in 3 Best Picture nominees, the fact that in 2 of them he is absolutely sensational, I think he got split votes, and it just, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people picked him to win in The Post or in Shape of Water or in Call Me by Your Name, and he just missed out. I wouldn't be surprised if he has in the top 10 3 nominations. If we went out to 10, he actually had 3 nominations. But yeah, to me is why he wasn't nominated. I wouldn't have put Woody Harrelson in. I would have taken him out, and I would have put I probably would have put him in from Call Me by Your Name instead. Chris, I'm going to go to you. What do you think of the Best Supporting Actor list?
Okay, so ditto. I also would have taken out Harrelson, and I would have put in an actor from Call Me by Your Name, but not Michael Stuhlbarg. I would have put in Armie Hammer because of the buzz that was surrounding him. But of course, the big. But they got Chalamet in there, and it's, of course, getting all of his other nominations. So it is what it is. I mean, it makes you wonder, though, is the Academy really just that much of a sucker for, an actor who gives his wife one... Oh, okay, never mind. I'm not going to spoil the movie for those who haven't seen it, but... I don't know. It's just, to be honest, I don't even think Three Billboards was Harrelson's best performance last year. But whatever, It is what it is. So,
yeah, absolutely. Manning, what are your thoughts on Best Supporting Actor?
I'm glad someone else agrees with me, the fact that Woody Harrelson didn't deserve this nomination. I mean, I would have rather have given the nomination to him for Glass Castle, and I didn't even love that film. I would have given it to him for War for the Planet of the Apes. Either one of those would have worked great.
Because
actually,
he was not in this movie enough.
I was about to say, there's a lot of similarities between his character in War for the Planet of the Apes and in Three Billboards. Now that I think about it, especially with their exit from the film.
Yeah, well, there you go, people. Spoiler quote, maybe? I don't know.
Nah.
We'll see. Maybe you have to see both of the movies. But anyway, yeah. That aside, yeah, this is probably your traditional 5. To me, Sam Rockwell brought in Woody Harrelson because they love Sam Rockwell's performance, and apparently they don't love Three Billboards enough to give it a director's nomination, but they love it just enough to bring in Woody Harrelson. And I think because of the Sam Rockwell love, Woody Harrelson was brought in alongside that. But yeah, I'm not surprised by this. This was our wait, was this our SAG 5? No. Plummer was not in there. Because this wasn't our BAFTA 5, because we had Hugh Grant come in. Well, somehow this got into the conversation of being our 5. And by some twist of fate, this is what we got. And you know what? I'm happy with it.
Yeah, Matt, what are your thoughts on Best Supporting Actor this year?
This is an interesting category. I've been hearing a lot of different things. I have actually been hearing the same stuff you guys were talking about, Woody Harrelson, that they don't really think he was in it enough to really get the nomination. But this could very well be a case of just the Academy loved Three Billboards so much that they kind of just wanted to give it as many nominations as they could. I don't know. It's possible. Christopher Plummer getting in there, people are giving him slack, but gotta give it. I've heard it's a great performance, and you also gotta give it credit that it's a great performance that he kind of wasn't originally intended to have, and also kind of did late. You gotta give credit. Christopher Plummer is a great actor, and it sucks that a performance like this is gonna have that other stuff behind it. I am annoyed that Patrick Stewart wasn't nominated, and this is my thing with that was, and these guys can attest to it. That was my big thing that I was hoping Logan was going to get a nomination for, because I thought Patrick Stewart was not playing a superhero. He was playing an old man with a disease, and he sold it so well. I mean, he was not Jean-Luc Picard. He was not even Professor X from the other X-Men films. He was just this kind of sad soul that's kind of slowly withering away. And I would have loved to have seen him get in there. So I would just, even without seeing the movie, but just hearing everything else saying, I love you, Woody. You're great in a lot of movies. I would kick you out and put in Patrick Stewart, but that's just me.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I kind of get where the sentiment of that is, because I do think Patrick Stewart gave one of the best performances last year. To me, the person I would kick out is Woody Harrelson over Christopher Plummer, because I think Christopher Plummer, what he did in All the Money in the World, I thought was incredible. I don't think that Woody Harrelson did anything really with Three Billboards. I don't think he did a lot in there. So that's why I would get that. Now, this is this is a tough pick, because going into the race, this was Willem Dafoe's to lose. Rockwell has started to really gain some steam. However, the lack of a nomination for Best Director makes me think that the Academy didn't love Three Billboards as much as we thought. So right now, my pick is Willem Dafoe. I am going with Willem Dafoe, but this is no longer the lock that we thought it was 3 months ago. Chris, where are you going with Best Supporting Actor?
I am going with Willem Dafoe officially, but again, as the dark horse / middle finger to all of the horrible people that were revealed last year, Christopher Plummer, I think, could be that dark horse. And like I said, that middle finger that honestly should be given.
Matt, where are you going?
I'm actually going to go with Christopher Plummer or Sam Rockwell. I think, from what I've been hearing with Plummer's performance, it could be that dark horse that people just sort of underestimate. It might be that thing that just the Academy really loved. And I think Sam Rockwell he's kind of had this steam sort of just come up. And so maybe that sort of also happened with the Academy. We have to see. Willem Dafoe wouldn't surprise me, though. Winning, because he's Willem Dafoe, and we were having a conversation about this earlier in the week of, it's like, between Rockwell and Dafoe, you kind of have the two sides of the same coin. You have the veteran character actor, and you have the sort of up and coming character actor, and it's like, which way is the Academy going to lean? Because sometimes they're not so nice to the vets as we would like them to be. Sometimes they give it to the up and comers. So this is going to be an interesting race.
Yeah, definitely. Manning?
First off, over under 60%, or make it higher, 75%. We're gonna get a Christopher Plummer replacing people joke on the Oscars.
It's 100%.
100?
100%. I would.
100%.
If there is anything, okay, there are 3 jokes I can guarantee you are going to come from the Oscars this year: Christopher Plummer replacing people, a Donald Trump joke in there somewhere, and the mess up of last year.
Yeah,
they're the 3 jokes I can guarantee you are all going to be in the
and Harvey and a Harvey joke.
And a Harvey joke. And a Harvey.
Say this? I think we're going to get 2 combined because what I think is going to happen is Jimmy Kimmel's going to come out and and they're going to, he's going to make his jokes and then they're going to do the whole presenting best whatever, Warren Beatty. And then Christopher Plummer comes out and makes a joke about replacing Warren Beatty to ensure the winner, got the.
Oh, that'd be great.
That's good.
Oh, that'd be great.
That would be great.
And then Warren Beatty comes out and they have a little shtick because I would love to see Christopher Plummer and Warren Beatty on stage together presenting.
All right. But anyway,
that would be good.
What I was gonna say is this is Sam. If Willem Dafoe had won SAG or had won a Golden Globe, I would say I agree with you. But considering Florida Project got nothing else besides Willem Dafoe, I think this is still Sam Rockwell's to lose. But you know what? Dafoe could take BAFTA and we could sing a different tune.
I think there is also this. Sam Rockwell's character in 3 Billboards is pretty despicable, and I don't think the film condemns him enough. And I think that might be something that just starts to edge into the conversation when I would not be surprised if 2 weeks before the nominations are locked in, so the winners are locked in, we start to hear the news articles about how despicable Sam Rockwell's character is and how the film doesn't condemn him enough. I would not be surprised, but that's just me. All right, let's move on to Best Supporting Actress. We have Manning. You can say it. Just go ahead. I'm going to give you this one. Just say the first one.
Wait. I'm sorry. What was that? I couldn't hear you. Was that something about Mary J. Blige making it in for Mudbound?
Woohoo!
Yes, it was. Thank you. Thank you. You're welcome, Manning. You're welcome.
They literally. I was really expecting Andy Serkis to, when that got announced, just go, "That was for Manning Franks," but so. All right. We also have Alison Janney from I, Tonya, Leslie Mansville from Phantom Thread, Laurie Metcalf from Lady Bird, and Octavia Spencer from The Shape of Water. Manning, take her away.
I'm so happy. Mudbound, while it couldn't get picture and director, but everything that it was predicted for in a lot of the precursors, it got. It got supporting actress. We'll notice that it got adapted screenplay, it got cinematography, it got song, it gotten all the stuff that it needed to get. And it opened the door, I believe, for Netflix in the future. This was Beast of No Nation almost did with Idris Elba, but that didn't happen. I think Mudbound was the first knock at the door for Netflix, and I'm so happy because it deserves it. Would I love for Dee Reese to get something? Yes, but I am happy with what we got too. I am very sad Holly Hunter could not get in, but I haven't seen Leslie Manville in the Phantom Thread, so I can't comment upon that. And at this point, I feel like Octavia Spencer is becoming like another Meryl Streep for like supporting actress, because she is currently getting in. She got in for. I'm sorry, I loved Hidden Figures. Janelle Monáe should have gotten in for that, not Octavia Spencer. And I feel like she is going to continue getting some love. But at this point, this is kind of a race between Metcalf and Janney is currently far ahead, waving at as they pass by.
Yeah, I love how now the woman, the check-in girl from Spider-Man who checks Peter into the wrestling is now a 3-time Oscar-nominated, 1-time winner. Oh, yeah, that's incredible for me.
Totally.
That's just like. Anyway, I'm sorry. I will always remember her from that, just because
my God.
What? Yeah, you didn't know that was her?
Lose some bites here.
I knew that was her, but that killed me that you said that, because now I'm going, well, okay, this is Octavia. Okay, so if Octavia Spencer's getting this, Bruce Campbell's coming up, man. His time is gonna shine.
Just realize this: when they released Spider-Man, like on the re-release of the Sam Raimi version, they're gonna have like and on the top they'll have all the people, and they'll have 3-time Academy Award nominee.
She's gonna get an and. She's gonna get an and.
She's gonna yes, exactly. 3-time Academy Award winner and 2-time.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. My mind just got blown.
I know what I'm doing after this. I'm making that trailer.
She now has more Oscar nominations than anyone in Spider-Man.
Right. Sam Raimi is like, boy, can I pick them extras?
I know.
All right.
Good on you, Octavia. Good on you.
Yes, good on Octavia Spencer. Look, this is the list we all expected, other than one big giant Phantom Thread surprise. That has been the biggest surprise so far of the Oscars. A lot of people had a lot of predictors went 19 for 20 in actor, actress, supporting actor, and supporting actress, just because there weren't any real big surprises. If you were going by the where the buzz was, and you kind of had the like. Denzel was a bit of a surprise for some of us, but there was the conversation. Leslie Mansfield's come out of nowhere. Like that to me was the biggest shock. And I thought Holly Hunter was a damn near lock. I was really close to putting her as a lock just because she had been nominated for nearly everything else. So that's a bit of a shock. I haven't seen Phantom Thread to comment on her performance, but from what I've heard, she's really, really good in it. So I mean, it doesn't matter. She's going to be an also ran since this is Allison Janney's to lose, right, Chris?
Nope. Laurie Metcalf.
Yeah. They're the two at the moment. They're the two. Chris, what are your thoughts on Best Supporting Actress though?
It's a good list. Yeah. I mean, okay, yes, minus Phantom Thread coming right the hell out of nowhere. Of course, because the Academy freaking loves this film. I don't get it, but sure. No, this is the list that everybody thought it was going to be, and it's a good list.
Yeah, absolutely. Matt?
Yeah, this is a really strong list. I think Phantom Thread has been surprising a lot of people for whatever. I don't think that means it's going to win Best Picture, but it's just the Oscars maybe every year, but every so couple of years, they just had that film that just like, maybe not everyone is talking about, but like the Academy just for whatever reason loves, and they just want to nominate it for a bunch of stuff. But yeah, all around, it's a pretty solid list.
Yeah, I mean, well, 2014 had that with American Sniper. No one was talking American Sniper before the nominations, and then all of a sudden it was, oh, here is 4 Oscar nominations for American Sniper. I think he actually got more than that, actually. But like, it got the 4 big ones. Yeah. Anyway, that was the big shock for me that year, and this year's for me is Phantom Thread. All right, let's go around the board. Personally, I've got Allison Janney. I think it's hers to lose. Laurie Metcalf is the other. They're the two fighting for it, but Allison Janney to me has got the momentum at the moment. Manning?
This is Allison Janney's to lose without Matt Metcalf being the one outside looking, but ever so close.
Absolutely. Matt, what have you got?
This is difficult. Because I agree it's between these two. But I've been hearing a little bit more about Allison Janney. Am I pronouncing her last name right? I apologize. Janney. So I think I wouldn't be surprised if Metcalf gets it though. You know, it could be one of those. It could be one of these categories, but one of those two. I'm not sure if I could be like 100% in one of their quarters.
Yeah, and Chris.
It has to be one or the other. So, and literally, I'm about to flip a coin right now.
Oh.
Heads is Metcalf. Tails is
Here's the
Janney.
thing. But we're not holding to any of our picks now. This is just we've just seen the
Also-
picks.
Oh, I know.
Here's the thing, guys.
I know, but here's
this
the thing.
is how the Academy votes too. They flip their coins and they just
Okay,
go, "What?"
so I'm officially gonna say Laurie Metcalf, because
All right.
Betty
All right,
Davis.
Laurie Metcalf when we're still 6 weeks out. That's fair. All right, let's move on
Yep.
to best original screenplay. Okay, we will talk about adapted screenplay next, but best original screenplay is one of the strongest original screenplay lists I have seen in a bloody long time. All right, we've got The Big Sick, Get Out, Lady Bird, The Shape of Water, and 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. This is an incredible list. Chris, I'm going to start with you.
Woofta. I don't even. How do you start?
We broke him.
Pretty much, because
By getting thrown under the bus.
oh, that's fine. Not like it doesn't happen every week. but I mean, okay. The thing is, you have 5 completely different scripts here, and that's why it's like really hard to even talk about it, because you're comparing an apple to a pear to a banana to a grape to an orange. How do you vote? Because if I could, I'd give them all the statue, in all honesty. But okay, yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I kind of lost my train of thought, just because.
He was thinking of fruits.
Well, that too. But but this is
I could go for
but this seriously is one of the best and one of the toughest screenplay categories that we've had in a very long time. So good luck voting, Academy. Good luck voting and not looking like a jerk for no matter what you vote for.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, look, everything here is incredible. Manning, where are you going with this one?
Besides I, Tonya, which got it, which did not, this was almost the WGA 5. Switch out 3 Billboards, which was ineligible, and you have the WGA 5. 3 Billboards, I would think I would have this, but I will get into our picks are later. But I'm okay with all these 5. These are a strong 5. These are almost the predicted 5. Nothing too shocking, so I can't complain. Don't have anything more to comment because it's just such a strong, very strong original screenplay category. And good for The Big Sick. I'm glad it got this. I wanted to get something, and if it got anything, I'm glad it's where it got the script nod.
Yeah, absolutely. Matt, where are you going with this one?
Oh yeah, this is really crazy category this year, because it's one where I'm like, I've seen the trailers to all of these movies and I go, man, those are like 5 kind of different movies, but I don't know, I would love to see what everyone, what the lists were that all the individual, because wow, yeah, I'm more just shocked at how original films we got this year. Like, that's just a great thing. I think seeing The Big Sick get in there is awesome, because I've heard that's had a great screenplay. A lot of my Oscar predictions are word of mouth, if you can't tell. So
Yeah, we brought Matt on because we wanted to have like what the genuine, Academy voter sounds like.
Oh, okay. You know what?
Wow.
Excuse me. You know what?
But he's not
Jacob?
an
You know what?
old
I
white-
come on your show. I'm a guest on your show.
a young white
Do I
man.
treat you like this when you come on my show? Okay. Did I lose the video when you were on the movie fandom show? Yes. But you know what? Screw you. All right. I think I'm a step above the Academy because I've seen movies that are not Oscar beating.
You've seen some of it. All right.
He's not.
Let's go real quick around the board. I've got Get Out winning this, and that's me throwing a dart at the board.
Oh,
Manning, who you got?
asshole.
I'm going to have to agree, because I think this is where the Get Out love is going to translate. They're going to want to give it something, and I think screenplay is where it's going to translate.
Matt.
I agree with you guys. I think the biggest thing that Get Out has been getting the love for has been the story and the screenplay, and I could see maybe like a Big Sick maybe sneaking in, but I think this is Get Out's category.
And Chris?
Jacob, for once, I love you. Get Out is winning this. No question.
Yeah.
I do just want to, before we get into adapted, just make you guys realize, I think there's a very, very real chance that Lady Bird walks away with nothing. And
Yes.
Which
I
kills
think
me.
That's sad.
Yeah. I think that is a very real chance. I mean, it could walk away with supporting, but I think there's a chance it might walk away with nothing. Let's move on to best adapted screenplay. Look, this wasn't the greatest year for adapted screenplay. Like, the fact that last week, we had no idea what we were putting in. Like, there's stuff in here that we didn't think would get nominated that deserves to be nominated, it wasn't the greatest year for adapted screenplay. I'm very happy with this list, however. We've got Call Me By Your Name, The Disaster Artist. Chris, you may say the next one.
Logan, mother F's.
Molly's Game, and Mudbound. Go ahead, Chris.
So, the first comic book movie ever nominated for adapted screenplay, and you give it to the right one. Because, fine, if you want to say that, the influence of Logan and stuff like that, it's not worth it, whatever, fine, cool. But this movie, in addition to just being a well-acted, well-directed, well-cinematographed, well-scored film, this is one of the best comic book adaptation stories, period. And I'm sorry, but the fact that James Mangold and Michael Green and Scott Frank, who did the screenplay for this, they invested so much time, so much love, so much passion. I've read this script. I have read the official final draft of Logan. You know that I'm going to say I actually think it has a shot at winning, and I will stand by that, even though it probably won't. It'll probably go to Disaster Artist or Call Me By Your Name, but damn it, if this script did not just take me off the page and remind me of why this movie made me cry all 3 times I've seen it, that should tell you something. Sorry.
Manning, what are your thoughts on adapted screenplay?
This, ladies and gentlemen, is your WGA 5, as well as being 5 of the I believe 7 or 8 USC Scripter nominations that happened, where it tied. These are 5 of those, and I think these are the strongest 5 you could have possibly have, considering one of the other few in the USC Scripter was The Lost City of Z. So I'm pretty sure that this overall is a much more strong category. And yeah, I'm surprised, pleasantly surprised, Logan made it to the very end. It got enough of the conversation to the fact that, I'm glad if anything could break the stigma of superhero movies, this was the movies to do it, and they finally got a nomination. And of course, Mudbound, thank you.
See, Manning, 1 for you, 1 for me.
1 for you, 1 for me. It's just like...
And look, I'm really happy. Okay, I'm really happy that Disaster Artist got nominated. I think,
yes,
the guys who wrote this film, they wrote a movie that if you have been following me for any period of time, in the last 7 years, you will know how much I adore this film called 500 Days of Summer. They wrote this film, and I really hoped that they would have gotten an Oscar nomination for that, which they never did, but now they've finally got their nomination for The Disaster Artist. And look, it was well-deserved. It was very, very well-deserved. They're not going to win. I think Call Me By Your Name has this in the bag. I think Call Me By Your Name, this is going to be Call Me By Your Name's 1 win, and I don't see anything else getting it. But another big shock just in screenplay in general is the fact that Phantom Thread was not nominated for a screenplay award at all. It's the first ever Daniel Day-Lewis film to be nominated for Best Picture to not be nominated for a screenplay film, which is shocking. So, Matt, what are your thoughts?
You're so funny, Mark. Disaster Artist get adapted screenplay. I'm so happy, Mark. I couldn't resist. Listen, the Disaster Artist, that movie, just, I walked away with so many quotes in my head. So I haven't read the book, but it kind of made me want to read the book. Just, it was such an interesting story. But the one I'm so happy to see is Logan, because this is just, the Academy has never really been kind to comic book movies in all of history of the Academy. No matter, they always get that's always how it's been. They always get the technicals. That's where they lived. And to have a movie like Logan get nominated for screenplay makes me so happy, because I think Logan was the best film of this past year. I think in 2017 Logan was the best, and I think the screenplay is a huge reason for that, because I think the story of it is not about a superhero. It's about a guy kind of on his last legs, and I thought the dialogue and just everything caught that so well. And the fact that also adapted screenplays are usually nominations for a book like, say, The Disaster Artist, which is a pretty, well-recognized, well-selling book. And the fact that the Academy with this is kind of like, maybe not, this isn't their intention, maybe this is just how I'm reading it, but they're kind of like, yeah, comic books are not a child's thing. There's something that a movie like Logan can come from, and that is just awesome.
Absolutely. Well, guys, those are the big 8, I guess, is as they're now being considered that these are the big ones that everyone discusses and wants to talk about and looks at. Right now, we're just going to go around and just talk about what were some of the other awards that surprised you, that you really enjoyed. So, Chris, is there anything in the 24 nominations that you really want to talk about that you absolutely loved got nominated for this certain award?
Absolutely. I'm just gonna quickly run through both sound mixing and sound editing, because as a sound guy myself, I'm very happy to see that. Sure, it's the same 5 films. It's Baby Driver, Blade Runner 2049, The Shape of Water, Dunkirk, and Star Wars: The Last Jedi for both categories. But if you were going to give love to Baby Driver and Blade Runner and Star Wars, and, well, to all 5 of them, let's be frank, it had to be in these 2 categories, because when I was watching those films, especially Baby Driver and Dunkirk, the things that I absolutely walked away from being like, oh my god, that was amazing, was because of the sound work. Some of the sound designing that came out of Baby Driver and Blade Runner, especially in terms of creating new effects that I had not, new sound effects that I had not heard before, was incredible. And with the sound mixing, to me, that's Star Wars: The Last Jedi's to lose for one reason. And that is everything that happens on board Snoke's ship, and also for what happens when a certain kamikaze moment happens, because just for that moment alone, because I think that is some of the most perfect cinema I saw last year. And it's just that few seconds, but every single second counts because of how the sound worked. So
yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go. Keep going.
Okay. No. Okay. And I'll just quickly wrap up. And it and like I said, it just further proved why The Shape of Water is this year's La La Land. Because look, it deserves nominations in these categories because, again, the sound was great for Shape of Water, but for the reason, and if I were to give my quick predictions on the winners, I'm saying Star Wars: The Last Jedi for sound mixing and Blade Runner 2049 for sound editing.
See, I think that these are Dunkirk's to lose. I think this will be where Dunkirk gets a lot of its love. I will be shocked if Blade Runner 2049 walks away with a lot other than cinematography, which I do think it will win. I'm still nervous. I still think Okay, I'm gonna put it to you. Normally, supporting actor is normally the one that they open with. They've tried a few different things, but normally supporting actor is the one that they open with. I highly, if Richard Jenkins wins that Oscar that year, Shape of Water is sweeping. But which I don't think will happen. But then when we start getting to technicals, if we start hearing Shape of Water a lot, Shape of Water has won Best Picture. If we start hearing, a divide and, Blade Runner winning sound editing and Dunkirk winning mixing and, Shape of Water winning cinematography, or if we start hearing and then Baby Driver winning editing and stuff like that, if we start hearing these different films winning these technical awards, we could be in for a very, very interesting Oscar show. But as it stands, the one big shock that I would have thought in editing and sound mixing and editing is Wonder Woman. That's a big shock. At least I would have thought at least some nomination would have been in there, but at the moment, there's nothing in there that I would kick out to put in Wonder Woman, so I don't know how you can say it's a snub
exactly. These are upon second review over what I had initially put in my predictions list, because the only one that I didn't have in there was actually no, sorry, I went 5 for 5 on these two as well. So never mind. Never mind.
Manning, is there any? I have a feeling there is a certain first-time nominee for another film that you want to talk about.
I'm hoping it's the same one we think about, and I'm pretty sure it is. But there's one particular I wanted to shout out, and that is best cinematography, because well, two things. First off, Father Deakins, may his name be blessed. You are getting that win. And I remember now, this is the part where I said I'd insert my foot in my mouth if he didn't win. Because there's no way he's not winning. It's how much critic love he is knocking on wood. Where's the wood? I'm knocking on it. But I'm super happy for him. This is my 5 for 5. So I'm pleased with that I've managed to do that. But overall, I wanted to also shout out the Rachel Morrison of Mudbound. The cinematography is one of the highlights of Mudbound. And I am super happy that not only did we get more love from Mudbound, we also got the first female cinematographer in the Academy's history be nominated, which is an astounding thing to think of. But and definitely will not be the last. This opened the door, not only for Netflix, but for female cinematographers everywhere. And I am super happy, because this is what it means for the next generation. And plus, all of these are well deserving. The cinematography for all these films are incredible, and I would not have it any other way.
Absolutely. Matt, is there anything you really want to call out?
There's actually a couple of things, if that's okay.
Go for it.
Yeah, go.
Okay. The first is original score, John Williams for Last Jedi, because I'm one of those crazy people who I might like The Last Jedi score more than Force Awakens. I know
easy.
Jacob. I'm not gonna let him start on the post versus Last Jedi. That could be a whole episode of this show in and of itself. I'm also really happy that Blade Runner got production design. I thought that movie looked so freaking amazing. I thought especially when you get, trying to not spoil, but when you get to where a lot of the third act takes place and the production design, I'm like, that's awesome. But I think the big one for me is, and maybe, but it's gotta be Boss Baby. I'm just so happy because you know what, this annoys me.
Jacob, move us on, please. Hurry.
This is just animated feature. I mean, are you kidding me? This is Best Picture. This is the Academy being rude. I mean, come on. It's
all right.
We need to talk about this. We need to talk about this because this is one of
That's why I brought it up, because I'm like, we need to talk about this. Because
I was going to try and be civil. I was going to try and not talk about. Look, okay.
We gotta.
All right.
This is
a lot of people might not realize this. The Academy changed the rules for Best Animated Feature this year. Every other year since they've had Best Animated Feature since 2001, Best Animated Feature, only people within animation were able to vote on it. And that's why, for a lot of times, we missed out on films. And that's why the Academy believed that we missed out on films like Lego Batman, the Lego Movie, and these other bigger. And there was one a few years ago that missed out. And I can't remember what it was that got nominated, that didn't get nominated. And everyone was like, that was going to
because it was a big deal. Yeah, before the Lego movie, there was another one that was like.
I can't remember what it was, but I have a feeling it was Wreck-It Ralph, but I don't think it is.
Yeah, that was the one.
No, that was
Wreck-It Ralph. No, Wreck-It Ralph made it.
No, Wreck-It Ralph made it and was beat by Brave. That's what was it?
Yeah, but they got beat.
Yeah, but that was anyway. And that was, I just remember that there was, Anyway, so they've changed the rules so that basically everyone in the Academy can now vote on Best Animated Feature, which is why I feel we got Boss Baby and we got Ferdinand, because the nominations, if you have is The Boss Baby, Breadwinner, Coco, Ferdinand, and Loving Vincent. Those are the 5 nominations. Now, the big giant miss here is the Lego Batman movie. That's the one that everyone's going, Lego Batman movie, why didn't it win? I think the big reason is, one, Boss Baby made a lot of money. Like, I don't think people realize just how much money Boss Baby made and how popular that movie was when it came out, and how popular that movie has stayed within the public, in the general consciousness of pop culture since that came out. Whereas when you've got an entire Academy voting on, the animated awards, which, kind of has that stigma to it, they're kind of going to pick, well, what was the animated movie I heard of this year? Hey, I remember seeing Boss Baby was the number 1 film for 3 weeks, for a month, it was the number 1 film. It must be good.
I took my family to see that.
Yeah,
I watched that on a plane.
Yeah, and whereas remember the story around Lego Batman was not as good as the Lego Movie. It didn't make as much money as the Lego Movie. Like, there was this
I think
discussion of disappointment.
I think there was that, and I think also, to go along with your point of, like, the Academy sort of looks down on the animated, like, features, and I think it's also
no, they don't.
And I think it's also
what? No.
I think it's also a problem. Hey, what you talking about, Academy? I watch animated movies and they're really freaking good. I should be in one.
Like Lego Batman movies? Yeah.
Lego Batman movie? I think the other problem is that the Lego Batman movie might be, again, I can't speak for the Academy voters, but it might be sort of in their mind, like, people talk, because Batman was in the Lego movie, so it might be like, it was a Lego Batman movie. This is, I think the one thing, I think this, more than I think any other category, is one films to lose. Because I think if any movie wins this category, everyone's losing their shit. Let's be honest.
Okay.
Because
there's a chance for the breadwinner.
Yeah, Breadwinner might. I doubt it. I highly doubt. If Breadwinner wasn't such a small film, I think it could possibly win. Like, if it was getting,
I think in animated, more so than Best Picture, having a small film works to your detriment. Look at Box Trolls. That was a small film, and it was a great animated film, but that wouldn't win Best Picture because it was small. And I think Coco is such a big movie. I think Boss Baby is kind of its only competition. And I think if we literally have to say the Oscar-winning Boss Baby, we better put that clock a couple more ticks forward. That's just me.
Absolutely, yeah. But no, definitely. Coco's the one that's to lose. If we walk away from Best Animated Feature from this year's Oscars going, Coco did not win Best Animated Feature, that's a shock. Now, I think that's the only one it wins, and let's open this can of worms because I want Chris to go on a rant again. Best Original Song.
That's your choice. Okay.
Oh boy.
let's put Chris on a rant. This Is Me was nominated for Best Original Song, Stand Up for Nothing, Remember Me, Mystery of Love, and Mighty River. This Is Me. I think This Is Me has this in the bag. I think this is the one that is going to win. Remember Me might, but This Is Me is winning this one.
Chris, may I put in my 2 cents before you go off? Cool, awesome. All right. I can see that, but I think so far, especially recently, there has been a lot of backlash, and at the same time, there's been a lot of love for The Greatest Showman. This movie is controversial, to say the least, and not in the sense, or no, excuse me, divisive, to say the least. And I don't think, unless they do a really great push for it, honestly, I think they're going to have to do a big push for all these, but I think this is going to be Coco's Remember Me, but This Is Me wouldn't be shocking. Take it away, Chris.
No! No!
My headphones!
Sorry. Now, first off, this is one of the worst songs in the film. This is a generic pop song with no substance, with no flavor, with nothing to it. This is pop radio Disney crap. Because, like, does it say anything? No. It's just saying, be yourself. That's all it's saying. And it's so stupid. It's so insufferable. This is one of the worst songs used for a musical in years. My God, you could have done The Greatest Show, which had a little more to do with the film. You could have done The Other Side, which had a lot to do with the film. You could have done Rewrite the Stars, also a terrible song, but it had more to do with the film than this freaking garbage. Look, here's my problem. Now, if you're going to come at me with that argument of, well, Chris, this song just transcends the entire film and it's about supporting the message. Well, no offense. Here, let me tell you what happens in the film. This is just, you know, this is the pissed off cast members because they got snubbed at a party. That's where this song is coming from. Oh, this song is terrible. Okay, anyway, Remember Me. It's winning. Bottom line. That's all you have to care about. Done.
Okay. Well,
That happened.
yeah. I'm just gonna let that. I would just like to say right now that Chris does not speak for the entire of Take 3 when he gives his hatred towards Greatest Showman. We really enjoyed it, and Manning and I really.
We are going to have a watch along,
And I didn't
we are
see
going to
it.
have a sing along.
So, you know.
and we're gonna sit there.
And
giggling and
well, here's the
smiling
thing.
the entire time.
I will sing along to the songs that I love.
All right. I just want to give my last surprise. Matt already mentioned I got Best Original Score correct. I had it completely correct. I got all the nominees correct. They just picked the wrong fucking movie. They gave it to me. The Post had a better score than Last Jedi.
Yes,
that's just me. My big shock really is Best Visual Effects and Best Makeup. Shape of Water was not nominated for either of these, and I thought that was, considering one of its main characters, I would have thought it would have been a lock for one of them. Now, I don't think you could give both, but Best Visual Effects, I would have thought it's a lock for, or at least Best Makeup, if that's how they did. I don't know how they did Doug Jones in that movie. I don't know if it was makeup or visual effects.
I think the Academy didn't know either, so they didn't know what to nominate it for.
Yeah, so to me, it should have been makeup, but hey, I mean, Darkest Hour makes sense. Victoria and Abdul, I'm kind of like, okay, it was a period piece. There's no real, like, incredible makeup other than the fact that it's a period piece.
Well, period pieces usually get, like, costume design, hair and makeup. Usually.
It got a lot of costume design. I would have loved if Phantom Thread didn't get costume design, but anyway. That's just.
Can we also, before we move away, just for our good buddy and editor here on the channel, Chris Clark was so happy when he read visual effects Kong Skull Island.
Yep, Kong Skull Island. So yeah, all right. Let's just go around the table real quick. Manning, what is the biggest shock for you out of the Oscars that didn't get that got missed out completely? That didn't get nominated
The
at
biggest shock, not what I wanted to, but what didn't happen that I thought was going to happen and didn't happen. Wait, is that right? Yeah,
Yes,
let's go with that.
like,
Yeah,
okay,
sure.
a film that didn't get nominated at all.
I mean, I could go for the low-hanging fruit and say what everyone else is going to say, but I'm going to go and say Holly Hunter for The Big Sick, because I was really shocked that that didn't happen, because she had gotten everything that was needed. But apparently she didn't get BAFTA, and that was a telling, because even with SAG, she couldn't make it translate, and that was shocking.
Yeah. Matt, what's your biggest shock?
I went for it's supporting actor, and this is you know, people can sit here and they can point fingers and say it's because I'm a comic book nerd, or it's because I don't watch highbrow entertainment. Both of things are true, but you know, that was one of the best performances of the year. And I think when you have, and this is Woody, I love you, but when you have a guy who pretty much everyone is like, why is he nominated? And you have someone who gave possibly the best supporting performance of the year not get nominated. It's kind of just like, why not just give him the nomination? You know?
Yeah. Chris, what's your biggest shock?
Boy, that is ain't that the $1 million question? Okay. I will quickly give my. Well, you know, okay, no. I do have my actual answer, and I just want to take advantage of this to talk about why. Actually, yeah, no, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this just real quick. Just bear with me, guys.
Okay.
What's upset me is the fact that because of all the controversy that surrounded this year, this film had to get snubbed in everything, because Wind River honestly was one of the best films of the year. Now, as we said on previous episodes, it had to be a casualty of the Harvey Weinstein stuff, so that way, you know, we could, you know, clear the crap out of Hollywood, and at least start to clear the crap out of Hollywood. And I'm grateful for that, but this is the most bitter pill to swallow for me.
Yeah, to me, my big shock, like, okay, it's not a really shock film. Films that I would have, that I would have loved to have been nominated. Wonder Woman walked away with nothing, which is a shock for me. I would have thought it got something. Another one that I thought might have scored somewhere, maybe in makeup, maybe in somewhere, was It. It walked away with absolutely nothing. One of the biggest movies of the year, walked away with no nominations. I thought maybe it might have scooped up a technical somewhere just to go, this is an Oscar-nominated film. So that's something, I guess. But that's really it, guys. That's our show. Thank you so much for listening in. Chris, where can the good people find you online?
You guys can find me on Twitter at my band Last Shot at Redemption at LSAR Band. And man, you guys can follow Take 3 Productions on Twitter and Instagram at Take 3 Trivia. And you can find me on Letterboxd and Stardust at Chris Take 3. Also right here hosting our Star Wars show, Knights of the Podcast.
Manning, where can the good people find you online?
You can find me here at All Things Take 3, as well as various other social media platforms like Twitter at Cine_Man. That's CINE_MANN. And I'll see you around talking movies, guys.
And Matt, where can they find you online?
Before that, does it make anyone upset the fact that Boss Baby has more Oscar nominations than It? Just
Plug
put
yourself,
that out there.
please.
Suicide Squad is an Oscar winner, so I'm okay with
And it is, and I thought it was rightfully so for that. And if you disagree with me, you can disagree with me on Twitter at Kearns_Matthew. You can also find me on YouTube at MattMovie611. I also host Second Look, which is a in-depth analysis on a film right here on Take 3. It premieres first Monday of every month. Maybe one day I'll get around to doing an Oscar-nominated film. Maybe. don't know. Maybe I have to watch one.
Well, you kind of already have done one, but all right. All right, guys. This is you guys can find me online at Facebook and Twitter at Jacob Blunden. You guys can also find me on Letterboxd, where I do all my movie reviews, at Jacob Blunden. We are back. We have a real great 6 weeks coming up before the Oscars in March, in the first weekend of March. We have some really amazing shows coming up for you that we're doing stuff a little differently here before we go into the new version of And the Winner Is post Oscars. But until then, guys, my name is Jacob Blunden, and I will see you next week on And the Winner Is. Take care.
Bye.
Hey guys, welcome to And the Winner Is, the show where we talk about the Oscars
Actually,
and all
perfect.
other shows.
That just reminded me I
and,
need to mute all Facebook conversations. Actually, I'm just going to close my Facebook tab. Let's just do that. Okay.
Let me just mute everybody.
Oh, that was awesome. That was well done, Matt. Well done.